Millionaire stumbles upon black cleaner studying in the dark at 3 a.m. Shocking truth revealed. In the dead of night, where shadows danced like whispers, a millionaire named Oliver stumbled upon a sight that would tighten his chest and rattle his soul. As he stepped lightly through the grand, echoing halls of his mansion, the silence was shattered by the soft scratch of a pen on paper. It was 3 a.m., a time when even the bravest souls should be asleep. Yet, there she was, Tanya, the housekeeper, hunched over at a dark oak table, illuminated only by a flickering candle. Lost in her world of study, she seemed an enigma, a ghost of grace in the dim light. Each curve of her focused face told stories of dreams and secrets woven into the fabric of her very being. The shadows played tricks, highlighting the deep concentration in her eyes, a mixture of determination and vulnerability. What was she studying? Why was she here when the rest of the world lay in quiet slumber? Curiosity clutched at Oliver's stomach, a burning need to understand the depths of this scene. This woman who worked tirelessly while he lost himself in wealth and privilege. As he inched closer, his quiet footsteps echoed against the marble floor, a sound that seemed too loud for this intimate moment. Unexpectedly, the air thickened with tension. Tanya looked up, her eyes wide with both shock and surprise, a hint of fear narrowing her gaze like a dart. "Mr. Grant," she gasped, the candle sputtering as if it too sensed the charged atmosphere, the flickering light casting eerie shadows all around them. "I didn't expect anyone to be here." The weight of unspoken words hung thick between them. The room pulsated with uncertainty. What was hidden in those books sprawled in front of her? Why the urgency to study in secret? It was clear this was no ordinary late-night cram session. Oliver's heart raced, not just from the fear of being caught, but from the compelling allure of Tanya's hidden life that beckoned just out of reach. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. "What are you doing here, Tanya?" he pressed, a bite of urgency in his voice, wondering if he could peel back the layers of her mystery with one question. She hesitated, her eyes darting to the books that seemed to hold the keys to 1,000 secrets. "I wanted to learn to rise above." A lump formed in Oliver's throat. What kind of life had led her to this moment of desperation? The delicate balance of their lives shattered in an instant. But just then, a loud crash echoed from down the hall. A sudden silence swallowed the room. The candle flickered violently, and Tanya's face drained of color. "What was that?" she whispered, clutching her pen like a weapon. This wasn't just a late-night study session anymore. Something darker lurked in the shadows, something that connected them both in this moment of fear. What was hidden in his mansion, waiting for the cover of darkness to spill its secrets? Oliver glanced towards the door, heart pounding. They were not alone, and that thought set fire to the night. The tension in the room was palpable. Oliver could feel the heat of impending danger pressing against him like a wall. "Stay here," he whispered, the words barely a rustle as he moved toward the door. Every instinct told him to flee, but the weight of Tanya's fearful gaze anchored him to the spot. He paused, looking back, searching her eyes for assurance. What had compelled her to keep studying in a place like this, a place that now felt as sinister as any haunted house? "What do you think it was?" he asked, his voice low and steady, fighting to mask the tremor of fear. "I don't know," Tanya replied, her voice barely above a whisper. But we should. A guttural noise rumbled from the hall, slicing through the quiet like a knife. It wasn't just a crash. It sounded like something heavy had fallen or been thrown. Adrenaline surged through Oliver, and he stepped wider, his breathing quickening. He couldn't ignore the sense of urgency pressing against him. "Get the light," he instructed, nodding toward the dim glow behind her. Tanya hurried to grab her phone, flicking it on. The brightness momentarily blinded them, but clarity returned as she pointed the beam toward the hallway. Shadows danced ominously away from its light, reforming into eerie shapes along the walls. "We should call the police," she suggested, her voice trembling as she kept the flashlight fixed like a shield against whatever lay beyond. "No time for that," he replied quickly. "We need to see what is going on. Stay close." Together, they stepped out into the corridor, the silence now a palpable entity wrapping around them. Oliver's heart thundered in his chest as they moved, every creak of the floor sounding like a warning. They edged toward the source of the noise, the faint glow of a candle barely illuminating the path ahead. In that moment, Oliver's mind spun with all the possibilities. Was it a trespasser? An ill-intentioned party crasher? Memories of those who mocked his wealth, attempting to steal what he built, danced ominously in his mind. Suddenly, they stumbled upon the turning point. A door at the end of the hallway swung ajar, the wood splintered as if something had burst through it. Without thinking, Oliver thrust himself forward, Tanya close behind him. What they found inside made their blood run cold. Papers were scattered everywhere. Someone had been searching through his old documents. A figure darted across the room, shadowed by even darker corners. "Stop!" Oliver shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. The figure paused, body tense like a coiled spring. "Oliver!" A male voice called out, dripping with surprise. "What are you doing here?" It was Ethan, a former friend turned business rival. Confusion knitted itself across Oliver's brow. "What have you done?" He felt the gravity of old grievances hold him in place. Before Ethan could respond, Tanya gasped, catching Oliver's attention in a way he and T expected. "Wait, there's something behind you." Oliver spun, heart racing, bracing for another confrontation. But when he turned, cold dread gripped him. A shadow shifted in the corner, something dark and foreboding that seemed to breathe with malice. "What is that?" Tanya cried out, backing away. Oliver tightened his grip on the doorframe. Whatever lurked in the shadows was a threat, a living embodiment of everything he feared losing. "We need to get out of here now," he barked, panic slicing through the tension. But as they turned to flee, a flash of icy metal glinted in the dim light, and Ethan's laughter rang out echoing off the darkened walls. "You're not going anywhere." The night frost had settled deep into their bones, and with every passing moment, the shadows seemed to close in tighter, a looming storm of unanswered questions and dangerous secrets. What lay hidden in the depths of his mansion? And why had Ethan come back to reclaim what had long been buried? As Oliver's body hummed with adrenaline, he prepared for the fight that was just beginning. Oliver's heart raced as Ethan's laughter echoed against the walls, a taunt that sent chills creeping down his spine. The glint of metal in Ethan's hand flashed in the dim light, a knife, sharp and glimmering with a cruel promise. The room was heavy with tension, every beat of his pulse shouting at him to act. "Get behind me, Tanya!" Oliver shouted, thrusting his arm out instinctively. He didn't want to think about what Ethan might do, but the dangerous glint in his eyes spoke volumes about his intentions. The air was thickening, and panic danced just at the edge of Oliver's mind. "You should have stayed away, Oliver," Ethan sneered, taking a step closer, his laughter now tinged with menace. "You think you own this place? Think again. There are things here you don't understand. Like you rummaging through my stuff?" Oliver countered, his voice firm despite the tremor in his hands. "What are you after?" Ethan's smirk widened, revealing a tension that felt like a brittle wire, ready to snap. "Not about what you think. This isn't about you. It's about what you've buried. You can't hide from the past forever." Every hair on Oliver's neck stood on end. What could Ethan know that he didn't? "I'm not afraid of you, Ethan. Not anymore." But Tanya's grip tightened around Oliver's arm, and fear radiated in her eyes. "Oliver, we can't stay here." Suddenly, the shadow in the corner moved again, a darker mass shifting against the wall. Oliver felt cold sweat trickle down his back. He turned to face it, adrenaline firing through his veins, heart pounding in rebellion. "Just leave, Ethan. We can resolve this without violence," Oliver cried, seeking any flicker of reason in Ethan's eyes, desperate to defuse the situation before it spiraled into chaos. Ethan's smile faltered for just a split second, and Oliver seized it. "What is it you want? What do you think you'll get by threatening me? This isn't a game." Ethan's expression darkened as he took another step forward, the knife gleaming threateningly. "It's far too late for games, old friend. You should know that better than anyone." The shadow shifted again, drawing nearer. Oliver's gut twisted with terror. Whatever evil lurked there didn't belong to just Ethan. It felt intertwined with their past, buried deep and festering. A sudden crash from further down the hallway broke through their standoff, shaking the air around them like a lightning strike. The door slammed shut behind them with a loud bang. Panic surged as Oliver realized they were trapped, the weight of darkness pressing in all around them. "What was that?" Tanya exclaimed, her voice shaking as she shared a glance with Oliver that spoke of dread. Ethan's eyes gleamed with something he couldn't contain, a twisted pleasure in the chaos. He turned to Oliver, dismissing their impending threat. "It just got interesting, didn't it?" The shadows seemed to writhe as the darkness thickened, their shapes whispering secrets Oliver could barely comprehend. He hadn't just stumbled upon a confrontation, he had awakened something much more dangerous. "What did you mean by the past?" Oliver asked, clinging to the last shred of clarity in the whirlwind around him. Something shifted behind Ethan, a presence that felt alive, waiting, watching. Oliver swallowed hard, his throat dry. Whatever truth lay coiled in the shadows was about to rear its head, but a voice from the darkness seeped through the air, chilling him to the bone. "You shouldn't have come back." Oliver, with a primal instinct kicking in, Oliver realized they had mere seconds before whatever lurked in the shadows struck. Would it reveal secrets from their past? Secrets that could cost him everything? Would this night plunge him into an unending nightmare? Or could they somehow escape? The answers lurked just beyond the edge of the dim light, and in that moment of uncertainty, the decision would change everything. As the darkness began to close in, the air thick with impending dread, the moment broke and the threat surged forward. The shadow lunged, a flicker of movement sliced through the dim light, and Oliver felt his instincts scream. He shoved Tanya behind him, adrenaline coursing through his veins. His mind raced through scenarios, each darker than the last. Ethan's laughter morphed into a frightening growl, a sound that sent a fresh wave of terror rippling through the room. "You just don't get it," he hissed, eyes darting to the corner from where the voice had come. "It's not just me you should be worried about." "Stop!" Oliver shouted, heart hammering, voice shaking but determined. "What the hell are you talking about?" Suddenly, the darkness stirred again, and Oliver could make out the outlines of something or someone forming in the shadows, an unsettling figure that seemed to blur the line between human and something else entirely. A cold sweat broke out over Oliver's brow, and he fought to keep his breathing steady. Questions clawed at him. Who was it? What did they want? What did Ethan know? "All of you, out!" yelled a voice, suddenly authoritative and chilling. The figure emerged fully, a woman with eyes as dark as the night itself, piercing yet familiar. Oliver's heart dropped when he recognized her, his childhood friend, Emma. But the way she stood, commanding and fierce, was a world away from the girl he once knew. It was as if she had become something more, something dangerous. "Emma," Oliver gasped, "what are you doing here?" She shot him a glance so filled with intensity it felt like a blow. "You shouldn't have come back to this place. It's the past, Oliver, it's coming for you." Ethan took a step back, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. You told me she wouldn't be here." "I didn't think he would return so soon," Emma replied coldly, turning her focus on Oliver. "There's more at stake than you can imagine. The things you buried, they never stayed buried, did they?" Oliver felt his skin crawl. "What are you talking about? You're not making any sense. Do you remember the stories?" Emma pressed, voice rising as if the very walls needed to hear her words. "The nights beneath the stars, whispers echoing through the trees. They're not just stories. They were warnings." Tanya clutched Oliver's arm, trying to block out the noise. "Oliver, we need to go. Now." But the walls seemed to lean closer, surrounding them. Oliver couldn't shake the feeling that something had awakened, that whatever was tied to Ethan, to Emma, had its gaze fixed firmly on him. "Stay out of this, Tanya," Ethan sneered, stepping closer to her with a swift motion. "You have no idea what is happening here." "Stop," Oliver declared, surging forward. He had to protect her. "You want something from me? Then let us talk. Just don't hurt her." Emma's face softened, just for a moment. "Fear won't protect you, Oliver. It will only drag you deeper into the dark." And then the floor creaked ominously beneath them, shifting as though alive. Ethan's knife glinted, reflecting both fear and an unmade decision. He was a cornered animal. Oliver could see it in his eyes. "What if he is right?" the dark figure muttered, the shadows around her whispering, twisting like smoke. What if his pain is the key we need? What did that mean? Oliver's mind raced. What was the connection? Suddenly, the room shook violently, echoing Emma's last words like a haunting chant. Everything spiraled, the shadows closing in, and Oliver knew this was just the beginning. Oliver, Tanya's voice cracked with panic. What do we do? His breath hitched, eyes darting around the chaos. The past was clawing its way back into the present, and Oliver could either fight it or surrender to the darkness that awaited. The decision loomed over him like a storm cloud, threatening to burst. Would he embrace the legacy that haunted him, or would he find a way to break free? As Oliver stood at the precipice of choice, a creeping dread settled in his stomach. The darkness whispered promises of truths long hidden. What lay behind that veil, waiting for him, was a nightmare he had tried to escape for years. But this time, the past was determined to confront him. With a deep breath, he closed his eyes. But just as he opened them again, the ground beneath them gave way, and they fell. The sensation of falling was surreal, gravity pulling Oliver and Tanya into an abyss, the sound of their screams swallowed by the dark. Everything spun. He couldn't tell up from down. Then, a sudden jolt. They landed hard, the impact rolling into a painful thud against cold concrete. Breathless, Oliver forced his eyes open. Disoriented, he blinked rapidly, trying to make sense of their surroundings. The shadows were still there, but they were more substantial. The air felt thick, heavy. Are we alive? Tanya's voice trembled, her breath quickening as she pushed herself upright. I think so. He shook off the dizziness, looking around. They were in a vast, dimly lit room filled with strange artifacts and remnants of memories, old photos, dusty books, and broken furniture that looked reminiscent of another time. The walls seemed alive, whispering secrets just out of reach. Where are we? Tanya whispered, inching closer to Oliver, her eyes wide, scanning the corners. The darkness felt oppressive and alive. As Oliver stood, brushing dirt from his clothes, something caught his eye. A faint glow emerged from a crumbling pedestal at the center of the room. It pulsed like a heartbeat, drawing him in. He tried to shake the feeling of dread, but the adrenaline still coursed through him. Don't go near it, Tanya exclaimed, her voice a sharp whisper. I have to check it out, he replied, moving cautiously toward the light. The glow grew brighter, and as he got closer, he realized it was emanating from a small, intricately carved box. It looked ancient, adorned with symbols that felt strangely familiar. Wait, Tanya cried, reaching out to grab his arm, but it was too late. He lifted the lid, and a rush of wind whipped through the room, scattering papers and sending a chill racing down his spine. The light erupted, blinding him for a moment, and when it faded, he stumbled back, gasping. Figures emerged from the shadows, their faces familiar yet altered. Ghostly visages stared at him, friends from his childhood, family, people he thought he'd lost forever. Among them, Emma stood at the forefront, her expression unreadable. Welcome back, she said, her tone vibrant yet cold, like a melody drenched in sorrow. Why are you all here? Oliver stammered, confusion and fear pooling in his chest. What is this? This is where it all began, Oliver, Emma replied, her eyes smoldering with intensity. A space between what you remember and what you refuse to accept. Leave him alone. Tanya stepped forward, her voice fierce despite the shaking of her hands. You have no right to haunt him. Ethan's voice broke in from the shadows, laden with a mocking tone. Oh, but you don't understand, do you? The past isn't just an echo, it's a key. And Oliver, he holds the power to unlock it all. Power? Oliver echoed, feeling a sick twist in his stomach. What power? Emma smiled sadly, her gaze piercing. The ability to confront what you fear the most, the stories you lived through and the nightmare that chased you. It's time you face them together. The ground rumbled beneath them, forcing Oliver to brace himself against the pedestal for balance. Distorting images flickered around him, scenes from his childhood flooded back. The sights, the laughter, the moments filled with joy that abruptly turned dark. Promises broken. Secrets unveiled. Run, Tanya yelled, pulling him back as the ground split open, a chasm yawning wide. But Oliver stood frozen, the weight of the truth crashing over him like a tidal wave. The faces around him shifted, morphing into reflections of his regrets and fears. I can't suddenly. A voice cut through the chaos, shrill and piercing. What will you choose, Oliver? Face your truth or drown in your lies? The ground shook violently as the shadows writhed, reaching out for him, pulling him toward the chasm. The choice loomed ahead, dark and menacing. Panic gripped him as he struggled against the shadows, Tanya's grip slipping away. Oliver. He searched frantically for a way to escape, knowing in his gut that the moment to decide was here, thick with dread. With heart pounding, he whispered, I have to know, would he rise to meet his past, or would he fall forever into its unending embrace? As the darkness crashed around them, threatening to swallow him whole, Oliver realized this was just the beginning of an unfathomable journey. What awaited him on the other side of choice? As the shadows clawed at him, Oliver felt the ground shift beneath his feet, a cruel reminder of the chasm before him. The faces around him melded into a swirling vortex of memories, each bearing the weight of his secrets. He wanted to scream, wanted to curl up and hide, but deep in his gut, he knew he had to choose to confront. Oliver, please. We need to get out of here. Tanya's voice pierced through his growing turmoil, snapping him back for a moment. She was desperate, eyes wide and wild with fear. Together, right? He muttered, his mind racing. That's what Emma said. I need to face this. The space around him shuddered, its anger a palpable force. The whispers grew louder, drowning out everything else. Face your truth, it echoed, a chant. He felt the pull of the chasm intensify, the shadows howling for him to surrender. Don't do it, Tanya begged, reaching for him again, her fingers brushing against his wrist as if that simple touch might ground him. We can find a way out, just like we always do. Do you think I can just run from this? Oliver shouted back, desperation bleeding into his voice. The room trembled, the shadows writhing even closer, hungry for the pain he buried deep. With a deep breath, Oliver squinted at the figures around him, each face twisted into contorted masks of disappointment and despair. Emma stood at the forefront, her stare piercing through the chaos. You can't run from what's inside you. You're stronger than this. Show them. Suddenly, a blinding light flared from the box he had opened, bathing everything in an ethereal glow. It felt like a lifeline. He reached out, but the shadows snapped at him, pulling him back more fiercely. Tanya's scream merged with the cacophony, but he couldn't lose her. Not now. Hold on. I'm going to try, he yelled, mustering every bit of will, every ounce of strength. He squeezed his eyes shut, focusing on the swell of power inside him, a raw, emotional energy that surged forward. As he opened his eyes, he could see through the shadows, piercing their veil of fear. Show me, he screamed, eyes transfixed on Emma, who seemed to flicker like a flame. Show me my truth. Each visage in the room began to flicker around him, and in that instant, he felt different. The swirling chaos began to morph, images spiraling until they formed separate snapshots: his childhood, laughter in a backyard, his parents arguing in the kitchen, that one day when everything turned. Pain washed over him, but it felt different now. He could finally face it. Oliver? Tanya's voice trembled. He could see her struggling against the shadows, their hold tightening like snake coils. I can't hold on much longer. Trust me, he shouted back, channeling everything into his voice. Just stay with me. He thrust his hands forward, tears streaming down his cheeks as he forced out the weight of guilt and sorrow he had buried for so long. The shadows roared back, angry tendrils curling around him, but he felt new strength bubbling within. A sudden clarity washed over him. He could shape his own reality. Stop, he commanded, his voice now steady and fierce. The light from the box pulsed in response, amplifying his resolve. With a loud crack, the ground shook, but instead of swallowing him, it erupted, sending a shockwave of pure energy surging outward. Shadows shrieked, dissipating as clarity filled the room. But before he could breathe a sigh of relief, a new figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette cloaked in darkness, its smile both haunting and familiar. You think you're free, Oliver? This is merely the beginning, Tanya gasped, and Oliver felt ice settle in his gut. What awaited him now was more than a choice. It was a confrontation that might consume him entirely. Who are you? He demanded, heart racing, as the figure inched closer, an eerie glow illuminating its features. And in that chilling moment, Oliver realized he may not be ready to uncover the full truth. The figure stepped into the light, revealing sharp cheekbones and eyes that glimmered like dark jewels. Oliver's breath hitched in his throat. It was someone he'd known, but not someone he had expected to see. It was Jason, his older brother. Jason? The word came out as a whisper. Is it really you? But the brother he had adored now wore an unsettling smile, a mask of calm that sent chills rushing down Oliver's spine. Surprised to see me, little brother? His voice was smooth, rich like the darkness that surrounded them. You didn't think you could escape that easily, did you? No, Oliver stammered, clutching the box tighter as if its warmth might shield him from the cold truth creeping in. You should be gone. But here I am. Jason's smile broadened, revealing a hint of menace. I've been waiting, watching. You and I, we're more connected than you like to think. Your pain is my pain. Oliver's heart raced, thundering against his ribs. Memories flooded back Jason's laughter, their shared childhood, the accident, the blame. Every detail, every shard of pain he had tucked away, found its way back to him in an instant. Stop it, Tanya shouted, pleading as she tugged at the shadows wrapping around her. Don't listen to him, Oliver. He can't control you. Jason's eyes glinted with amusement. Is that really what you think? You're so eager to cast me away, yet here I am, the deepest part of your heart, wrapped in all your sorrow. I'm part of your truth. No, Oliver exclaimed, the force of his shout echoing in the tumultuous space. He could feel the shadows wincing, recoiling momentarily, as if shaken. Do you understand? Jason continued, moving closer, his voice dropping to a chilling whisper. To confront me is to confront everything you've buried. Those memories? They don't just go away, Ollie. They fester. They grow. All this time, you've been ignoring the truth, thinking that facing it would take the pain away. But can it? Can you handle it? The shadows writhed with each word Jason spoke, thickening around Tanya until she gasped for breath. Oliver's heart splintered. He refused to let fear freeze him in place. He had fought against the darkness once, and he could do it again. He had to. I'm not afraid of you, he said, forcing the words out, though a tremor passed through him. You're not real, not anymore. Real? Fake. Definitions? They don't matter now. You'll always carry me with you. I am every secret, every doubt. I am everything you wished would just go away. Tanya's eyes met his, desperation flickering like a candle on the verge of snuffing out. Oliver, she rasped, urgency lining her voice. You can't let him take hold. You control this moment. Oliver clenched his fists, the energy from the box coursing through him, filling him with a newfound sense of purpose. I won't let you manipulate me, he declared, resolve hardening in his chest. I am more than this. Then prove it, Jason challenged, his visage shifting, shadows growing denser. You've held on to the guilt, the despair, the fear. Show me what you truly desire, and I'll show you what you've always been too scared to face. In that moment, the figures surrounding him morphed again, memories spilling forth like a flood with no dam to hold them back. Oliver's childhood laughter twisted into cries, moments of joy battered by sorrow. Faces he loved lost to despair. As Jason leaned in, his eyes bore into Oliver's soul, and Oliver fought the urge to look away. A flicker of something, fear maybe, passed between them. This was no longer about Jason. The time had come to confront the truth within himself. Suddenly, the ground trembled again, sending a tremor through their feet. Would Oliver rise or fall? The shadows darkened, and Jason's laughter echoed, growing deeper, more sinister. Embrace your truth, Oliver, he taunted, or lose everything. With that echo bouncing off the walls of his mind, Oliver took a deep breath. Darkness still loomed, but he could feel the light building again. Would he harness that energy, or would the shadows claim him? And then, a voice broke through the chaos. One he didn't expect to hear. Let me help you, Oliver. His eyes shot toward Tanya, her own fear palpable, but also a fierce urgency radiating from her. What would happen now? Could he expose his truth, and with it, slay the darkness once and for all? Would the consequences finally break him, or would he find a path into the light? Oliver looked deep into Tanya's eyes, the fierce light of determination mixed with a glimmer of fear that struck him to his core. How? He breathlessly questioned, knowing that every moment mattered now. Shadows surged, pulling tighter, wrapping around them like an invisible vice. Take my hand, Tanya urged, her own hands trembling, yet steady. We need to combine our strengths. Let us face this together. Jason's laughter crescendoed, rolling through the air like thunder. Oh, how sweet. Family unity in the face of darkness. But you don't understand, do you, Tanya? You can't save him from himself. Ignoring Jason's taunts, Oliver gripped Tanya's outstretched hand tightly, feeling the warmth of her palm. The energy from the box pulsed stronger, a vibrant rhythm that matched Oliver's heartbeat. Memories flickered like an old film reel, a disarray of moments both joyous and tragic, dancing on the edge of his mind. What do we do? He whispered, urgency clawing at him. Focus on what you want to protect, Tanya shouted, her voice laced with strength. Your past doesn't have to control you. It can inspire you. Oliver's heart pounded fiercely as he thought about everything he held dear: the laughter of his childhood friends, the love of his parents, the gentle way Tanya embraced his fears. His own voice began to rise, stepping over the chaos Jason had created. I want to break free. I want to live without chains. With those words, the air crackled. Jason's face twisted in displeasure. You think it's that simple? Facing your past? You're stepping into a battlefield, little brother. Then so be it, Oliver shouted. A fierce light shot from the box, first a shimmering glow, then bursting forth like dawn piercing through the longest night. The shadows recoiled, wavering in the intensity of Oliver's resolve. Jason's expression hardened, fear flickering behind the mask he wore. No, this isn't how it's supposed to go, he yelled, stepping back as the light enveloped him. The memories around Oliver stilled, suspending time as he gripped Tanya's hand tighter. Together they began to pull energy from the bright essence surrounding them, a raw and vivacious force that swirled and surged like a storm. Breathe, Oliver. We're doing this, Tanya urged, her voice weaving through the tension, every word a lifeline. With a deep breath, he drew upon the swirling energy, feeling it fill him with strength that banished the shadows further into the corners of his mind. But Jason wasn't done. The dark form began to stretch, wriggling like a serpent, making one final attempt to latch onto Oliver's heart. Fight it. Don't let him in. Tanya's words rippled with urgency in that moment. Oliver felt something break within him. The barrier he had built around his pain shattered like glass. Memories surged forth, rampant and raw. You are nothing but a ghost, Oliver screamed, his voice steady now, amplified by self-acceptance. Jason shrieked as the light engulfed him, the malevolent spirit of regret screaming through the darkness. You will regret this, Ollie. Regret it forever. With a blinding flash, the darkness exploded around them, and Oliver felt himself sway, breathless and spent. The void that had gripped him began to dissipate, replaced by an ethereal calm. But as the light began to fade, a shadowy figure lingered, lurking in the corner of Oliver's vision, an echo of Jason's presence, shimmering faintly. What was that? Tanya's voice trembled, her eyes darting. Oliver felt a disquieting chill, and a knot formed in his stomach. It's not over, he whispered, fear clawing its way back into his mind. There's more to this. There's something else hiding in the shadows, and as the room lay quiet and still, an unmistakable sense of dread washed over him. Questions spiraled like leaves in a storm, leaving him grappling for answers that felt just out of reach. Could Jason's lingering presence harbor an even darker truth than he had prepared for? Could it taunt him back into the darkness he had just escaped? The air felt thick with uncertainty as they stared at the last flickers of Jason's shadow, each lingering second pulling them back to the brink. What lay ahead in this relentless battle for Oliver's soul? The answers were shrouded in shadows, lurking just beneath the surface. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating, as Oliver and Tanya stood amidst the remnants of what had just unfolded. The echo of Jason's last words reverberated in Oliver's mind. Regret. The very taste of it hung in the air like storm clouds pressing down on a sunny day. Oliver? Tanya's voice broke through, yet it trembled with uncertainty. We can't just stand here. We need to find out. What was that? She took a cautious step forward, her eyes scanning the shadows in the dim light. Oliver felt the faintest tug at his heart, the shadows winding around like smoke. I don't know, but I have a feeling that it's connected to Jason. He not gone. Hadn't he just faced his brother's darkness? Hadn't he pushed it away? Why did he still feel the weight of that presence? An eerie awakening lingered at the back of his mind, whispering sinister secrets that made his skin crawl. But as they moved deeper into the room, the air shifted. A palpable chill enveloped them, and the flickering light from the box cast elongated shadows that writhed against the walls. The visions that had given Oliver strength now seemed to loom ominously, haunting reminders rather than uplifting dreams. If he is still here, then what does that mean for you? Tanya asked, a mixture of fear and sympathy in her voice. We have to stay focused. You're stronger than he thinks. I am stronger, Oliver affirmed, clenching his fists. Each heartbeat drummed in his chest, mingling with the pulsing energy from the box. But this is different. It feels personal. He knows my fears, my weaknesses. Just then, the atmosphere shifted, warping as if reality itself was beginning to crumble. Jason's shadow flickered more violently, twisting and curling, forming words that slithered through the air like poison. You can't escape me, Ollie. I am you. Tanya's gasp echoed off the walls as the words sunk deep into Oliver's mind. He felt a cramp of panic grip his chest, a sensation like ice clogging his veins. No, I am not a part of you, he shouted, but his voice wavered. That's where you're wrong, Jason's shadow hissed, sneering in the darkness. Every fear, every regret, you can't run away from your own reflection. With newfound determination, Oliver locked eyes with the flickering shadow. Then I'll face that reflection. I'll confront every piece of you clinging to me. Tanya stepped closer, squeezing Oliver's hand. You can do this, Oliver. Remember that love, those memories, let them guide you. In that instant, Oliver collected the energy swirling from the box, channeling it towards the shadow. The brightness flickered in defiance against Jason's darkness, spreading a dazzling luminescence that seared through Oliver's soul. But the shadow pushed back, rage igniting it like flames beneath a frozen surface. You think you can cast me aside? Think again. Jason's anger crackled, filling the space with a deep, rumbling threat. Oliver's strength wavered as Jason surged, trying to envelop him in a whirlwind of pain and regret. Memories clashed, fear of abandonment, the weight of family expectations. No, you're not real, he shouted, summoning every ounce of his will. For a moment, there was silence. It hung heavy, like the calm before a storm. Then, with a sudden shove, Jason's shadow lunged, and Oliver felt himself teetering at the brink, almost ready to topple into the void. At the last second, he glimpsed Tanya's unwavering gaze, her determination glowing like a beacon in the oppressive darkness. Together, she yelled, her voice cutting clear through the chaos. An electric jolt surged between them, and in that fleeting moment, Oliver regained his balance. Together, he echoed. They were not alone in this fight, not against Jason, and not against the darkness. But as they prepared to push back, another surge of shadows unfurled from the depths, swirling around them, violent and chaotic. You have no idea what you're up against, Jason's voice echoed, an unsettling glee evident in his tone. Just as Oliver braced himself for the onslaught, a separate shadow flicked in and out of focus at the corners of his vision. Was there something, or someone else lurking, waiting to strike? Questions surged as dread wrapped around him. Was Jason brewing something darker, something hiding just out of reach? Fear and doubt gripped his heart, but he steeled himself, determined to face whatever lay ahead, as the relentless battle for his soul stretched on. Oliver stood at the edge of a precipice, his heart drumming like a battle march as the darkness swirled around him. But this time, he wasn't alone. He felt the warmth of Tanya's hand in his, her grip tight and reassuring. The flicker of the box pulsed between them, a beacon of hope amidst the enveloping shadows. Jason, you don't control me, Oliver thundered, his voice ringing with newfound strength. The darkness shivered at the sound, recoiling as if struck. The shadows writhed like serpents, hissing threats and taunts that echoed in his mind. You're nothing but the memories I refuse to acknowledge. Jason's shadow flickered ominously, flaring up with rage. Those memories are you, Ollie. You can't run from yourself. His voice dripped with disdain, twisting the knife deeper into the conflict. Then let us end this. Together, Tanya urged, her eyes fierce, rippling with determination. They could banish the collective pain, together. In that moment, Oliver harnessed the flood of memories, the laughter shared, the dreams forged, the tragedies faced. Shadows loomed heavily, distorting the past into something terrifying, but he pushed back. Each pulse of the box radiated warmth, engulfing him in a light that felt raw and real. Heart racing, he called out to the memories that felt lost but were never truly gone. I accept you, all of you. I won't let you control me anymore. He felt an energy swell around them, connecting him to Tanya as they mirrored one another, defiance reflecting back from their united strength. What is happening? Tanya cried out as the shadows screamed, trapped in the luminosity that spread from their combined will. Light flickered where darkness had once reigned, pushing it back, inch by inch. Keep going, Oliver. I'm with you. Together, they thrust their joined hands forward, shouting against the encroaching shadows. You're just echoes. You're not my future. With every ounce of strength, they unleashed a wave of illuminated energy. The darkness howled, ripping through the air with fury. It twisted and swirled, losing its grip on Oliver and tearing at Jason's form. No, Jason shouted, his voice losing power, wavering amidst their combined light. You can't escape me. I'm your blood. I'm your past. Oliver's chest tightened, but his resolve only strengthened. No, I'm my own person. I choose who I want to be. The box erupted into blinding brilliance, infusing the air with palpable energy that electrified the atmosphere. Everything felt alive. A beam shot from the box, extending into the heart of Jason's shadow. You don't own me, Oliver bellowed. He felt love, support, and memories flooding through him, urging him to shatter the wall of fear Jason had built. The shadows churned violently, clawing at the energy, trying to retract it. But with an overwhelming force, Oliver surged forward, grabbing onto every memory that highlighted his journey, every lesson learned, every triumph embraced. He would not let Jason reign anymore. In a moment of absolute clarity, he shouted, I will write my story. And with that declaration, the radiant light shot forth, engulfing the darkness in a warm embrace. The shadows split apart, Jason's panicked face becoming indistinct as the luminosity surged through them, swallowing every remnant of lingering doubt. What have you done? He shrieked as the light enveloped him, unraveling the very fibers of his dark essence. The air exploded with energy, uprooting the lingering remnants of guilt, sorrow, and regret. And in that culmination of brilliance, Jason's figure disintegrated, fading away into the ether, the shadows retreating into nothingness. The last echoes of darkness extinguished, as silence engulfed the space. Oliver fell to his knees, breathless, weight lifted from his spirit. Tanya knelt beside him, tears glistening in her eyes. You did it, Oliver. You faced it. We faced it. Relief trembled in her voice, brightening the dim aftermath of chaos. I can't believe it, he breathed, the heaviness in his chest dissipating like fog under the sun. Each heartbeat hummed with freedom, each breath tasted of precious hope. We really did. But as the remnants of Jason's shadow faded away, an unsettling chill twinged at the back of Oliver's mind. Where once he had feared the dark, he now understood the truth. It was a part of him, an integral piece of growth, a testament to resilience. He had faced the shadows and emerged with light. And while darkness might linger, it no longer dictated who he would become. Looking into Tanya's eyes, he felt the warmth of newfound connection. Together, they were a match against any encroaching shadow, supporters igniting fires of hope within each other. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. As the air cleared and the dim light began to reignite around them, Oliver stood tall. He grasped the carved box, his ticket to confronting the past again if necessary, but firmly in control of his narrative moving forward. With Tanya by his side, he would reclaim every moment, weaving truths into triumphs. Ready to face the world? He asked, a grin breaking through. Always, she replied, laughter brightening the remnants of fear. Hand in hand, they stepped away from the darkness, heartbeats synchronized, and a future waiting, one built on strength, acceptance, and the power of choosing to step into the light. This was their story now, written anew with courage, compassion, and an unwavering bond. The end was just the beginning. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories unfolding. This is the moment to show your support by smashing the like button now to feed the algorithm and help others discover these tales. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. What do you think lies ahead for Oliver and Tanya? I want to hear from you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes a lasting difference. So let us keep the adventure alive together.